Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Cooking for the Family. I'm Dyvonne and today I'm going to share with you this wonderful French vanilla cake that I made. I gave it a nice homemade touch and my homemade strawberry cream cheese frosting. These are the ingredients that I'm going to be using. Are you ready? Let's get started. So first I'm using a 15.25 ounce box of cake mix. Now if you can't find the 15.25 ounce box of cake mix, you can go ahead and use the 13.25 ounce box of cake mix instead. And I'm using the French vanilla, but if you can only find vanilla, you can go ahead and use that. What I like to do is to give it that nice homemade touch, we're going to substitute the water in the recipe for milk. So whatever amount of water your box cake calls for, substitute it with milk. I prefer to use whole milk or either 2% milk. Now something else that we're going to do is with our eggs, we want to have our eggs at room temperature. Those room temperature eggs blend better into our cake. It also helps our cake to rise really nicely and be nice and fluffy. So remember, don't forget to have those room temperature eggs. Now for room temperature eggs, as a quick pro tip, for your room temperature eggs, when you take them out of the refrigerator, if it's gonna, sometimes it takes a while to make them room temperature, get a bowl of warm water, not hot water, but warm water. Put your eggs in the bowl while they're in the shell. Put your eggs in a bowl of warm water. Leave them in there for about 30-45 minutes. Your eggs will go ahead and become room temperature, but that's warm water, not hot. Now once I've gone on and I've added in my oil that my cake mix calls for, and I also added in the eggs that the cake mix called for, 2 8-inch round cake pans, and you can also bake your cake in 2 9-inch round cake pans. I'll go ahead and spray my cake pans. If you don't have any spray like I'm using, you can go ahead and butter them very lightly and then sprinkle in a little bit flour and dust them all over with your flour. You can do that. Now while I'm doing this, I have my oven preheating on 325 degrees. Now when it comes to my layer cakes and also when it comes to my cupcakes, I like to bake them at the 325. 325, I find that the cake gives it a chance to really bake up evenly and nicely. So my cakes are out of the oven. We're going to let them cool. And I like to let my cakes cool in the pan for about 15-20 minutes, not too much more than say 30 minutes max. The reason being is I found that if I let them stay in the pan for longer than 30 minutes, especially during the warmer months, that the cake starts to sweat in the pan, and then it's harder for me to get the cake out of the pan, harder for it to release. And so about 15 to 20 minutes is what I typically like to do. So once our cakes are out of the pan, we want them to cool completely before frosting, because any heat coming off the cake will tend to start to dissolve our frosting. So we're going to let those cool. Now they've been cooling for a while, so I'm going to go ahead and start on my strawberry cream cheese frosting. In my mixing bowl, I've put 1 8-ounce block of softened cream cheese, and then I also put 1.5 sticks of salted butter. You can also use unsalted butter. If you're using unsalted butter, you want to put a pinch of regular table salt into your frosting when you make it. So my butter was nice and soft at room temperature, and my cream cheese is nice and soft at room temperature, and that's going to give us a smoother consistency of the frosting for our base when we go ahead and add our other ingredients. And so make sure that if you're using a mixer like I am, that you do want to scrape down the sides of the bowl. And I'm making sure that the cream cheese and the butter really integrate together to become one. I don't want any streaks of butter, and I don't want any streaks of the cream cheese. So once everything is combined and it has just come together, this is what you want your frosting to look like at this point. Just like this, and this is just the cream cheese and the butter blended together. Next I put in 1.5 cups, and my measuring cup I used is a 1.5 cup measure. I put in 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, also known as confectioner sugar, so 1.5 cups of that, and then I put in 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. So we have our butter, our cream cheese, our powdered sugar, and our vanilla extract. Now to make this a strawberry cream cheese frosting, we're going to be using some strawberry preserves. And with the strawberry preserves, you want to use the very best strawberry preserves that you can find. This is the one that I'm using. So whatever that you have in your local market, or you might already have in your fridge, or even if you have some homemade, that's what you want to use. And so this is what our frosting, our cream cheese frosting looks like. I give it one last mix just to make sure that I do have anything from around the sides combined. We're going to be using a half a cup of strawberry preserves, and start off with a fourth of a cup. And then when you put your fourth of a cup in there, you want to do exactly this, which I'm not doing a hard, heavy mix. I am just gently folding in the strawberry preserves. Now, after putting in the fourth of a cup of strawberry preserves and you've gently folded it in to your cream cheese frosting, go ahead and taste it. And if it tastes just right to you, you can go ahead and make this with just the fourth of a cup. If you want a more robust strawberry flavor, you can go ahead and add the other fourth of a cup to make the full half cup of the strawberry preserves into your frosting. And this is what it's going to look like. We're going to put it in the refrigerator and let it chill while our frosting is chilling. And I like to let it chill for about 20 minutes before I actually start to frost the cake. Just let it firm up just a little bit before we go ahead and frost our cake. Now when it comes to the fourth of a cup and the half a cup of the strawberry preserves and the frosting that I had mentioned, the reason being is because when I have used just the fourth of a cup of the strawberry preserves to make the strawberry cream cheese frosting, my husband felt it wasn't that strawberry, I guess you could say, and it needed more. And so I went on and I added more the next time around when I made it. And so that's why I wanted to let you guys know that leeway where you can tweak it and see if you want the fourth of a cup versus the half a cup. Okay, so I just wanted to give you guys that little tip right there when you're making your frosting. Now, if you're enjoying my vlog, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you like this kind of content, I love to cook and bake and share recipes. And if you notice, I love to share the little details. That's something that I learned from my mom. When it comes to cooking and baking, my mother always taught me the devil is in the details. So if you enjoy home cooking and baking, I hope you consider subscribing. So once I went on and I put my frosting on the first layer, and that was about a third of the frosting that I put on that very first layer, and I like to go ahead and move it out to the edge. This is going to be a little bit easier. It's going to allow you to take your frosting over to the side as you're icing your cake. You can kind of go down to the side, and it's just going to make it easier as you go ahead and move it just like I'm doing there. So go ahead and move that excess icing to the edge of the cake, and then you see how I did that, and I was able to just take it down around the sides just like that. I always like to end with the balance, the last third of my frosting. I like to go ahead and end with that on top of the cake. This is going to help me when I'm making my decoration or my pattern, and this is the pattern I like to make. I like to go ahead, start at the edge, and slowly work inward just like you see me doing there, and closing in a circle. So start at the edge and make swoops back and forth like you're making a giant C on each side of the cake, a C and then a C on the other side, and you're slowly closing in a circle till you get to the center, and that just gives you a nice swoop pattern. And then we'll go on and we'll go around the edge and just kind of smooth and even things out, and just kind of depending on how you want to decorate your cake. So I went on and I put a little star pattern of the strawberries that I had cut. We're going to put some strawberries around the edge, and I just like to add the extra fresh strawberries. You can add them if you like or leave them out. That's kind of personal preference. That's going to be up to you. I'm going to set my cake in the refrigerator until it's time for me to serve it, or at least a minimum of about 30 minutes. So it's time for me to cut into the cake. I'm going to serve us up some. We're going to see how we did. Now this makes a great cake for a birthday celebration, springtime, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day. It's just right around the corner. So this is a great cake for any of those occasions, or sometimes just because. And y'all, this cake has got some weight to it, because substituting the milk for the water in the cake really makes a difference with that texture. Well, this is your bite. Go ahead and take your bite. Now I'm going to take my bite and see how we did. That strawberry cream cheese frosting just takes our cake to the next level. Well, I hope you give this recipe a try. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, don't forget to show it some love. Give it a thumbs up and click share. Share this video with a friend or family. And don't forget to click that notification bell so you can come back and visit me again in my kitchen. And remember, it's always good when Dyvonne is cooking for the family. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.